Let's talk about Sukuna's fingers, and specifically his 20th finger. But first, let me give a special shout out to Daniel who sponsored this video. Thank you so much, man. The support really does mean a lot. And just as a quick reminder for anybody who wants to help support your boy, this is a great way to do it. And not only that, I get asked a ton of questions every day. So this is a way to get your question instant priority. Also, this is marked out down here below because this question is manga spoilers, so for anybody that doesn't want to know, scroll away. Alright, so Daniel wants me to talk about Gojo hiding Sukuna's last finger and also Hikari saving Gojo. So first, let's talk about the fingers. So for anybody that needs context, Daniel is referring to this panel from chapter 222, where Uraume is giving Sukuna all of the remaining fingers that she could find, of which there was one she could never get a hold of. Sukuna says, don't worry about it, Gojo has that one. And Uraume is like, oh, he does? And Sukuna says, well, probably. And Sukuna thinks that Gojo hid the 20th finger so that they could never actually find them all, therefore making Yuji's execution be postponed indefinitely, because Yuji's whole plan is to eat all the fingers and then he'll be executed, right? So Gojo hiding one is effectively saving his life. This man is beating the bad father allegations, okay? Gojo is not the stepdad, he's the dad who stepped up. The thing we need to remember though is that this is just a theory. Gojo didn't necessarily hide the last finger, that's just what Sukuna assumes. Now, me personally, I could get behind this, I think it makes a lot of sense. However, there are some other theories about where that last finger might be, so we need to look at that as well. However, if Gojo did hide the last finger, then there are some interesting things that might come up with it. One such use case could be Nobara's curse technique. Now, where is she? Who knows? It's been over 100 chapters since any sort of update. She might be gone. You know, this might be pure copium. But if she is still around, and Gojo did hide that finger, then her using her resonance curse technique on it could prove pivotal in the defeat of Sukuna. Now let's talk about another potential theory for the finger if Gojo didn't hide it. Well, it could be that Yuji was created from it, which would explain some of his otherworldly properties and abilities, if you will. It could explain why he is a prison for Sukuna, able to contain him, perhaps because he is made from him in a way, if that makes sense. Now, that's not to say that Yuji is a curse wound death painting or anything, because he's not. Yuji was made the old-fashioned way, at least as far as we know. But that isn't to say that Kenjaku couldn't have similarly experimented on Yuji, and in fact, he definitely did. We know that Kenjaku did something, we just don't know the exact details of it yet. So I do think it's plausible that Kenjaku could have gotten a hold of one of Sukuna's fingers, especially if he was trying to create a vessel and done some experimenting with it that led us to Yuji, right? So I don't know which way I'm leaning as far as these two theories we're talking about, but I do think both are equally plausible. And then to the second half of your question about Hikari saving Gojo, I'm assuming that you're asking what role could Hikari play in helping to save Gojo, but if that's not the case, let me know in the comments. But I don't really think he's gonna play a role, only because the plan already seems to be in motion. We know that Gojo's body is gone, presumably brought to Shoko, so whatever's happening with him is probably happening right now, and Hikari is not there to help because he's still fighting Uraume. But on top of that, Hikari, I don't really know what he would bring to the table. He does have the best RCT in the verse, but that's only when he's in a jackpot, and it's instinctual. Like, he doesn't know how to do RCT on his own. But that being said, there has been a month time skip. Maybe he's learned some things, right? So maybe he has learned how to do RCT, specifically RCT on others while in a jackpot. Now, if we can take all of those assumptions, he's somehow there and he somehow learned how to master RCT in that way, then he could play a role, right? Because if he's hit a jackpot and he's got that infinite cursed energy pouring into RCT on somebody else, then that could absolutely help. But I don't really see that happening.